Welcome everybody to Ballers and Briefs Wild Card Weekend Fantasy Football and DFS Outlook. Fantasy football is technically all the way behind us, but I have seen people that are playing playoffs versions of fantasy football. Playoffs? Talk about playoffs? What? Never seen it, but I got asked, do I want to play in a playoff fantasy league? And I was like, that was a new one to me. After
Didn't know about that one.
Yeah.
Did not know about that one.
It was new, but it's always something that you can learn, I guess, playing in the playoffs. It'd be cool because all the good players are in the playoffs. So all the best fantasy football players are there. Just want to acknowledge the new Ballers and Briefs family member here on the screen.
Oh,
let's go,
Mr. Rumble.
Rumble in the chat.
Yeah, with his pink nose. So that's new man, new year, new dog. Right?
Boss. You're a boss. Oh, he's a boss.
And then we have Blue in the background saying, "Don't forget about me. I was the OG." So
it's OG. It's probably one's OUT.
Because I need to pee. So first off, Texans are up 13 with 4 minutes and 40 seconds left.
Let's go.
Need it for my own sanity. And I know it's not on the docket, but Pittsburgh and Baltimore play kickoff here in like 24 minutes. Phil, do you have any last minute thoughts about that game?
Lamar Jackson, anytime touchdown, Ravens win outright. Bet it.
Lamar Jackson is the highest owned player in the showdown. Derrick Henry is second highest owned player in the showdown.
I want to go Derrick Henry anytime touchdown.
I think you follow that shit for sure. I saw that one. I saw that one for sure.
I like that one. I like that one against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like that matchup. They're gonna have to run the ball to be able to beat this defense for the Steelers.
No Zay Flowers. So give me all the Rashad Bateman that you can give me, and give me all the Mark Andrews. I think that's like, I mean, for Lamar Jackson,
somebody pretty tough. So to give me Nelson Aguilar.
Don't sleep on Najee Harris. They're going to give him the ball again on the other side going back. I think he's going to get a lot of touches today as well.
I mean, it's a 9.5 point spread to Baltimore in Baltimore. I feel like the game could play closer than that. It could be that snooze fest we've been looking for in this division all season. So, Russ got a little magic, maybe, but I don't know. Baltimore takes this one. I think they cruise into a win. And if anybody has questions about it, just ask us during the show. So, what's up, Pete? What's up, Nessa?
What up, Nessa? What up, Pete?
Thanks for hopping in with us.
Showing some love.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we're here to talk a little bit of Sunday wild card. Shout out to anybody that's watching us from LA or maybe in the LA area. Our heart and prayers go out to you and your family and for everything that you guys are going through right now. No, there's a lot of people that have reached out or connected with us over the year that are from that area. So hearts go out to you guys. And shout out to the Arizona Cardinals, by the way. Sent both of their team planes to LA to pick up the Rams coaches and staff and dogs and cats to bring them to Arizona. So shout out to the Arizona Cardinals. It's your division rival, and you're like, yeah, we'll house you guys, let you use our training facility because you're going to be playing in our building. So what's up, Casey?
What up, Casey?
Thanks for the shout out earlier, by the way. Saw you put drop the show on the story, so appreciate that, buddy. We appreciate you as
Definitely
always.
Appreciate that.
But this, like I said, we shout out to everybody out there. But let's talk about some stuff that makes everybody happy, and that's a little bit of playoff football. Unless your team is on the outside looking in and watching everybody. So and it's always a good thing when your team is in the playoffs, because you have more football to watch. Unless you're just a football fan, I would watch it regardless if my Texans were in there or not. But I thought we were going to be gone after tonight. So the slate is pretty stacked. I mean, there's here you just see in the front 2 guys that are vying for the MVP, Offensive Player of the Year: Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Mr. 11 straight seasons of 1,000 yards, Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton, Offensive Rookie of the Year, probably Jaden Daniels, and then the heir apparent to the Rodgers fame empire, Jordan Love there. So let's go. The first game is you got the Josh Allen led Buffalo Bills taking on the Denver Broncos, 47.5 points. A basic 8-point spread. 1-score ball game in Buffalo. No snow, just regular Buffalo cold weather. Don't feel like it's going to affect Denver that much, but I could be wrong.
The Bills Mafia might affect them a little bit, though.
Yeah. I mean, this video, obviously, they didn't play this year, but this video that's on the screen was obviously the last time that Josh Allen introduced himself to the Denver Broncos. And this was back in 2020 when they won the AFC East. But, I mean, we could see that tomorrow. But it's a CBS game. I'm sure we'll get Tony Romo drooling all over the Josh Allen sack. So,
well, Josh Allen did have eight fantasy games over 25 fantasy points in that game, or games with 25 points. So, I mean, I could definitely see this kind of going in that direction as far as for that. The 47.5 total, though, I'm not sure. I know the last matchup, Broncos actually won it 24-22. That was back in 2023. I see that potentially playing along those lines. I guess, but just a little bit. 47.5 is a little bit too high for me on this matchup. But I think there are some pieces you can kind of pull out of here if you're kind of building up a fantasy lineup. Again, Allen to maybe to start.
So really there are really no significant injuries on either side of the ball here. I mean, Tyler Beatty, depth running back there for the Broncos, questionable with the back injury, but that's nothing. Frank Crum, tackle. I believe he's a backup tackle. I don't think he's a starter unless I'm wrong. But he is out. Let me see. I want to make sure that I'm not speaking out of turn here, but let's see. Yeah, Frank Crum is a backup. He's a backup to Mike McGlinchey. So, I mean, it's really nothing of note for the Broncos. And then for the Bills, nobody, absolutely nobody on the injury report. So
Shakir's not on the injury report?
No, sir.
I mean, I feel like some Keon Coleman for getting different in this game. My man had 31% targets last week. I know there was no Shakir, but in these 3-game slates, 2-game slates, you got to find somebody that you're different than your average wide receiver 1, running back 1 to get different. I think Coleman is that dude looking to shine here in the playoffs. I agree with Brad. I don't see this game going over those points. Denver's pretty solid on the defense, but personally, I can never bet an under against Allen because he's a fucking freak. So I would like to bet the under here, but I just couldn't do it.
If there's a defense in the playoffs, like team that they could match up against at a defense that could actually put Josh Allen, kind of bring him down a notch, right? Like, I think it's Denver. Denver's defense has been really good. I mean, they've given up shit when they shouldn't have, but when they've actually had to play up to snuff, they've actually been doing that. So I believe Surtain I think Surtain cuts out maybe Shakir possibly. So this could be, like you said, Coleman, Cooper, the mad scientist, Matt Collins.
Matt Collins, dude, don't forget about him. That's a good call.
Touchdown, Joe Mixon, 32-12.
Dude had a whole fantasy point at halftime.
Yeah. Let's go, Gillum. Let's go, Josh. Touchdown, Mixon. Yes, GG's. Yep. Let's go. Yeah.
On the flip side, give me Sutton for all the love. My man is getting high volume. DraftKings, that's what you want. But he's definitely going to be chalk. So I just think it's chalk you got to eat.
I mean, if you're getting off this chalk, I think you got to go. I mean, to pivot off his chalk, it's got to be Mims
or Vele.
But Mims has been killing it the last 3 weeks.
Mims has been killing it, but he still ain't on the season at the target percent that Vele's at. So it could be either one of them, but I like Vele here.
I know Mims has had 3 games of over 21 points for the fantasy side. So he's had that sort of boom ability, and he has that sort of fast, quick speed that is kind of over the top type player. So I think if you're kind of looking for that style player to kind of add into your lineup, that's where he kind of makes his hay if they're able to kind of really kind of throw the ball deep tomorrow. But against the Buffalo defense, that's pretty solid against the pass. I'm not sure if they're able to definitely connect tomorrow, but if it does happen, he'll definitely blow the slate up again.
Yeah. I mean, Phil, what ownership are you seeing Josh Allen at? Or can you not see it right now? Is it not loaded?
Right now, I was opening up something else, but forgot. Give me a second. I can see if I can see something. But right now, there's no ownership. I mean, you can expect like Sutton to be high. Shakir will be pretty high. Somebody like Vele and Mims will probably be around like 20%.
Any love for Cook tomorrow? He's had 3 games over 100 rushing yards this last season.
He could be the one that breaks open this game, because of the simple fact of the matter is Denver is, I think, middle of the pack kind of in rushing. It's really going to depend on if Bo Nix is playing like Bo Nix should be, and this is they're getting over 19 points. I think that he's got to be involved, but I don't know. Like, what's the interior line for Denver's not the best part of their line. It's the outside, right? But their linebackers are pretty good too. So the linebackers are off the ball, good off the ball guys too. So good against the pass. Let me see. What I'm trying to see is, what did James? Well, they played against them last week. They played against the Patriots last week, so that's not going to do anything. What was the week before? I mean, literally, he had against New York, who New York had a pretty good interior defensive line, the Jets. So he had 53 yards. James Cook did. So it could be. He could eat up yards. They're trying to get out and eat up clock, and this game is weather in Buffalo in Orchard Park. Herbert with another interception.
Jeez.
Man.
Fourth interception. He's imploding here on the screen right now. 29. Actually, there is a 20% chance of precipitation tomorrow at game time, or actually game time would be right around 11 o'clock. So 40% chance of precipitation, 20-mile-an-hour winds, which I don't think that matters to Josh Allen and that rocket arm he has. But I mean, it does when it gets down to like the kicking game and the defense and stuff like that. So tell us how you really feel, KC. Tell us how you really feel. Well, I mean, he's kind of the epitome of what could have been at this point, I think. I don't know. I feel like he's for my sake, I love it. But for NFL, I feel like he could be better. I just don't know if it's just becoming like he's forcing it too much, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. Maybe Troy Franklin too. Like I like if you're trying to dip deep in the bag here, like Troy Franklin might be a steal in this
7% targets last week. Not bad. I don't know how much he costs tomorrow. 3,100. It's only on the field 35%. I'd probably rather have Curtis Samuel than him, who's on the field 70% of the time and had 25% targets last week. You're dipping deep.
And he's that more. Samuel's more of that speed player. You know, you give him to him on a gadget play or even a downfield play. So yeah, I agree with Phil on that. That might be a little sneaky, little get different play.
I just kind of found what you're saying, Phil. The Vele play is probably good. Is a good one because he's what I just found some ownership around 3.6%.
Nice. Yeah, I can't find anything right on two sites.
And then I just pulled it because it's not loading where we look at it. So I just found it off of RotoWire, and theirs is pretty reliable sometimes, but it obviously is going to change. But Mims is at about 8%. And then your Keon Coleman is around 12. Sutton is 21%.
I think he'll be much higher.
Of course.
Like 40.
There's what I put in a private chat. Look in a private chat. I put the link that I just pulled on there. I don't like any of the running backs really that on Denver here though.
I agree. I was looking at Williams. What is it? McClellan, as well, and it just the production just doesn't lend to wanting to really kind of take one or the other. Now, of course, they're going to have to run the ball to really kind of establish sort of the downfield passing game. I just don't see Nick's going out there and just throwing it straight up 40 times. I think he's going to have to do that to run the ball, but I just think it may not be enough from a fantasy perspective to kind of bring anything. Dawson Knox? Yeah. He had 7 targets last 2 games. They're trying to kind of add him into it. Any love for Dawson Knox tomorrow?
Me, it's going to go off of ownership. And since we don't got that yet, it's kind of tough. But
yeah.
And because it's a three game slate is what I'm going to play. So
he's 4. I mean, what I can see around 4%. I mean, the difference between Knox.
It's not a good matchup.
At 3,000 and Kincaid at 4,000. I think if you're trying to play a tight end, obviously the tight ends from the other 2 games, I think are better value for what you're going to have to pay for them.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a good matchup here. But back to the running backs on Denver, I think it's easy to get off of Williams. He only had 12% rushing last week, whereas McLaughlin had 40 and Estime had 30%. So
I mean, Estime had 12 attempts. He's gone 9 attempts, and 12 attempts in the last 3 games. He's certainly working his way into the offense.
They're getting Williams out of the rush, but Williams holds the target percent. So he's got 14% targets last week. Estime had none. So it looks like Estimate's coming in as like maybe the lead back, and then it's
they started McLaughlin like he started the game last week. Like took the first snap, and then you saw.
Yeah, I mean he had more than Estime. He had 40%, but if they're not giving Estime any targets, it looks like they're trying to have Williams as a third down back only.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't play him. But if you're doing like a different, you probably need Estime or McLaughlin and hope that one of them is the one.
I know, and I've seen McLaughlin have a couple pass catching sort of screen plays that he's been able to kind of get a lot of production on. And so I guess from a pass perspective, as far as for the running backs and catching, that might be the better play from Denver. Maybe even from all of the backs sort of available tomorrow in this game, just because he's definitely have the production and the pass in that screen game.
I mean, both teams have a quarterback that has the ability to run the ball. I mean, I think I saw like the over for rushing for Bo Nix tomorrow is like 22.5 yards. I think he's going to have to run that 22.5 yards for them to even get close to winning this ball game. He's going to have to use his feet. And that's going to take away from the trifecta of running backs that Sean Payton wheels in there
throughout the game
for them. Yeah. So I think that's something to keep in mind, that if you're trying to play running backs, I think that this game is kind of, it's James Cook or bust, right? Like it could be, I mean, at the end of the day, they have the lowest team total, the Broncos do, of the 3 games. So, and Buffalo has the highest, which, like you guys said, this could definitely play. I think this game team total switches with the game that's next. I think the game total plays better for the Green Bay and Philly game. I think Buffalo wins here. I'm taking Buffalo. I think Denver covers, though. I think this game's low scoring, like you guys said. I think Denver covers the 8 points. But
I like Buffalo as well tomorrow.
I'm going to take Buffalo by the spread, actually. So give me that low-scoring game, but they take it by 10.
Okay, that's that. I mean, it's like I said, it's gonna be one of those games. Like it's early. It's an early game, so it's either gonna be fireworks or we're just gonna be ready to chomping at the bit to get to the next one. So we can pop over to that one. This one is a little bit more in KC's wheelhouse. His lovely Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Green Bay Packers. 45.5, 5 points to Philadelphia. I thought this game was going to be, honestly, up until yesterday, I thought Green Bay was going to win, because we didn't know if Jalen Hurts was going to play with that concussion, and he finally passed concussion protocol. So that makes this more interesting to me. With the fact of the matter is, I feel like the Eagles could be inept without Jalen Hurts sometimes. Now, Tanner McKee was whipping it. Kenny Pickett does his thing. That dude is huge. He's like big. He's like 6'4", 6'6", or some shit like that. And he's like a prototype.
Tanner McKee.
Yeah,
he's from Stanford. I remember him playing at Stanford those couple of years.
Yeah. So he's a big, tall dude. Like, that's what they do. That's what they do at Stanford. They get those big, tall, goofy-looking quarterbacks like Davis the Neck Mills here in Houston. But, hey.
It works.
It works, I guess. And now that they've got,
I actually like the over in this matchup. I believe the last game it was 34-29. I think that was the first game of the year, and I believe it was in Brazil.
Yeah, in Sao Paulo. Yeah, that's where this video is from. So that's when Saquon popped on the scene and had 3 touchdowns in the ball game, or 2 touchdowns in the ball game. Thank you, Saquon. I am the champ because of you, sir. No, you didn't play. He didn't play, but the last week when I needed him, but it's all right. Made it through the season with Saquon at the helm. But yeah, I think that this game plays over. What about you, Phil? What do you think? No Christian Watson. So there's one less Green Bay Packer wide receiver you have to rummage through the bag for.
It scares me about being a run game. I want to say over. I think majority of the public is going to be on the over in this game. But like if it becomes a Saquon and Jacobs game, it's good chance it goes under. seen Philly this year not play as the offense that we all thought they were going to be, probably for the first 6 games of the season. So it could be a large outcome here again. Green Bay's not that bad out there. Is my man Jair Alexander playing?
He's on the IR.
Sheesh.
That's why I'm looking at right now. Devontae Smith and AJ Brown are two of the top 5 highest owned wide receivers.
Yeah, man. I don't think anybody can cover AJ,
Both of them.
You're going to shadow probably AJ, and it's going to be a Smith game.
You're going to send it to Keyshawn Nixon. Is probably going to get AJ.
And that hurts. No Alexander in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's on the Schneid. Let's see, Philly matchup.
Yeah, AJ Brown had 5 receptions for 119 yards and a touchdown in the last matchup against the Packers. So I really like him in this matchup as well. I think they go back to him even if they try to double cover. I just think this matchup sets up friendly for him.
Was Jair Alexander out in that last one?
No, he played in week 1.
Damn, and AJ torched him?
Saquon had 3 touchdowns, and AJ scored, I think, too.
Yeah, I mean, but that, Saquon having 3 touchdowns is what I'm telling you I'm afraid of in this game. Like, I think this is a Saquon game. And Saquon is just going to do what he wants with them. They don't need to go to the air. They don't need to do all that. They got film to watch now on the AJ Brown.
I think this is Devontae Smith fries their ass. If this is Jalen Hurts. I mean, I think we see a little bit less tush push-ish type shit in this game with the fact of Jalen Hurts is coming off of the concussion.
Yep.
They don't need to do that. They shouldn't do that. Run the ball with Saquon and get the ball out to Devontae Smith and let him do work against a backup or second tier, third tier corner in Javon Bullard, who's mid at best. So, like, I think you get Valentine's. I'm looking now. It looks like that AJ is going to draw Valentine.
Yeah, AJ Brown's on Valentine. That's what I was looking at.
And then what's that? Javon Bullard. So you're going to get So Keyshawn Nixon's going to be on Jahan Dotson. On the other side, Keyshawn Nixon is their best corner they have left, or on the other side on AJ. So this is going to be Devontae Smith working out of the slot. So
I'm seeing Javon Bullard on Smith.
That's what I'm saying. Javon Bullard's a slot guy. So I'm saying Keyshawn Nixon is an outside corner. So he's going to be on Dotson or AJ, depending on which side AJ lines up for.
It might be a Jahan Dotson game, my guy. Nixon's allowed 5 TDs. And Valentine's allowed 0. And Bullard's allowed 1 on what I'm looking at. It looks like Bullard just allows the catch, but shuts it down when he catches it. Nixon doesn't allow many catches, but when they catch it,
that's what I'm saying. Nixon has been really good. He's good at coverage, but when it gets down to the red zone, he just blanks out. That's what I'm saying. If he shifts over to AJ, it's going straight to AJ Brown. But when it's going down the field, it's going to be Smitty driving them down the field, and then somebody else is going to get the touchdown, whether it's Goddard or Saquon or a tush push, some bullshit.
Yeah. A-dot. Let's see. And Nixon got the highest A-dot too, which means when they catch it, it's further down the field. So that aligns with the touchdown. I like Jahan Dotson right there with like a Samuel type play we talked about earlier. you're looking for a cheap punt type person. John Dotson, I think earlier we talked about Samuel having like 25% targets last week, and John Dotson had almost 27% of targets last week. And it's probably because they bench starters, so can't do too much emphasis with that. But on the season, he's on the field 60% of the time, so he'll be out there.
Yeah. By the way, if you're trying to watch the ball game that's on right now, it's on Amazon Prime. So if you don't have Amazon Prime, you know where to go.
Oh, I have Amazon Prime.
But so I'm thinking, man, I think this is good. I think this game it's crazy that they started the season against one another, and one of them is going to end the other one's season. I think it's a good story. I think it's good two storied franchises. This game goes over. I think it goes over. I think this one can overshadow the 50 points that they have for Washington, and I think it gets over the 47 that Buffalo and Denver have, and I think it's also could get over your afternoon crazy person thing that you have. That I think that
that's a lot different with when there's only 3 games on the slate, but
I'm just saying I think that that could be the one that comes into play for that 50 points at Washington and Tampa that we're going to talk about.
I think in order to get to that over 45 number, Green Bay is going to have a good pass productive game. And so Reed had 36 fantasy points in the last matchup against Philly. So watch out for him. I mean, I know Jacobs, he only had, I believe, 12 fantasy points. Kind of because he's more so you're just straight up running back, just kind of running in between the tackles. He doesn't get a ton of receptions. But again, it was interesting to me that that was Reed's basically best game of the year. And so maybe they might see that on the film and go back to him tomorrow. They're going to need to be able to score through the air in order to get to that 45 over total.
So when it comes to injuries, Christian Watson obviously is the most important there on Green Bay with the blowing out that quad, basically. Or that knee, I mean, this ACL. Quay Walker, their linebacker, is questionable with the ankle, but he's limited in practice, so I'm sure he's going to play. Andre Dillard, their tackle, questionable with a concussion, but I think he's cleared the protocol. Zane Anderson, their safety, is out with a concussion. Evan Williams, their other safety, is questionable with a quad. And then for the Eagles, no Byron Young, defensive tackle. I believe he's depth anyway, hamstring. And Trevor Keegan, I believe a depth guard as well, out with an illness. So there you go. This is, I think, all hands on deck. And we're going to get plenty of good football out of this game that we should. I can tell you that Saquon's the highest owned running back. That's just by
yeah, that's
inference.
Jacobs is going to be really high on too, anyway.
I mean,
low owned would be like Wicks, might be worth it. No,
Emmanuel Wilson, man, that dude, we talked about him last time. When he gets like we said, we know that when he's on the field, he's going to get the ball.
Yep.
If you're trying to get a running back,
and he's more of the pass catching running back as well. So if they do kind of want to dump it off, that's when they usually go to Wilson instead of Jacobs.
Let's see. Yeah, they're tripping with these numbers, dude. These not having a
I mean, it's going to change when these games finish today. People have their money or don't have their money. The numbers are going to change. But no Watson means a lot more targets going around. But like one person we haven't talked about is Tucker Kraft. Dude, he's on the field more than anybody on Green Bay.
And he's dirt cheap, dude. 3,700.
The most target percent on the season. He's right there with Jaden Reed and everybody else. So don't cut this dude out. If he's going to be on the field 90% of the time, we were talking about tight ends earlier. I don't know if he's still the route I go, but dirt cheap and on the field 90% of the time. And the way we see it is Green Bay's going to need to air the ball out. Right?
You're going to have to.
So, and there's no Watson. So when there's no Watson, it doesn't mean Dubes and Wicks are going to get all the catches. It just means more passes are being spread around. They're being spread around and probably going to everybody. Possibly more to Tucker Kraft because he's on the field more than anybody else.
Well, because there's only one. Literally, he has Highlander rules. There's only one. There's only one tight end. Luke Musgrave's ass is they drafted him and Tucker Kraft in the same damn draft, and Luke Musgrave was supposed to be that guy. And Tucker Kraft out of here. I mean, Tucker Kraft is the guy that's been doing it, and Luke Musgrave sits on the bench. So it's he is the number one. They don't have this shit problem that they have with the wide receivers with Dubes and Wicks and Reed and Christian Watson's ass that's out there every third game and blows something or hurts himself and catches maybe a touchdown to screw up the slate. So yes, they don't have that problem with Tucker Kraft. He is the tight end. So I think that's the reason why. And I'm just trying to see a team that this season that how they've done against the tight end, because I liked that. 18. They have a pretty damn good defense too. So this could be a defense you need to play here. If you're looking at defense. So
if you're looking to kind of get different and it doesn't play the way we're thinking, I mean, the Eagles defense has had 3 games this year with over 12 points of fantasy points. So they have the capability, have shown the capability in the past to be able to have really good fantasy performance, overall defensive performance. So out of all of the slates, all of the 3 games tomorrow, I feel like they may have maybe them and the Bills, and I think have the best sort of chance of having a really good defensive performance.
I mean, and this is not saying, but it's a playoff team, right? I went back to when Philadelphia played Baltimore. In Baltimore, both Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews had a touchdown. So tight ends with a touchdown. So what I feel like Phil was saying, that Tucker Kraft play just looks more and more enticing because
the only one
you got to cover everybody, and the defense is good, right? They have a good defense, but the tight end sometimes eats you up, and Jordan Love does like to throw the ball to the tight end, Tucker Kraft. So I like Tucker Kraft. I mean, he's probably my second favorite tight end on this slate. I mean, I like Dallas Goedert as well. I mean, we always like Dallas Goedert, and the difference in price is 200 between the two. So with Goddard out there more and more every week, like last week with Tanner McKee, he was out there he was 50 yards within or something like that in the first quarter or some shit like that. So,
any upset?
Any upsets?
Maybe.
Yes. I think the next one. We can go to that one if you want to go ahead and just go to the next game. I think Philly wins obviously here.
Yeah, I think Eagles as well.
I think Phillies wins, but this game's going to be the upset. I'm calling it.
I think the Commanders win this.
I think so too.
Wow.
And you know why? You want to know why? Because he's gone. Because Mike Evans does not exist in this game because of his arch nemesis, Marshawn Lattimore.
Lattimore is playing, and y'all do not forget, different uniform does not mean he don't fuck with this dude, and he's not gonna let him score the ball.
This was in week. This was back in September.
Something I called that shit. Lattimore shuts Mike Evans down, bro. It is not. They shut. To be honest, I don't even think it's a skill thing. Mike Evans lets that dude in his head, and he shuts himself down. He just literally argues with him on the field. They go back and forth. They push each other. They both get fucking personal fouls. They end up fighting. Yep. He's in his head the whole time, man. Mike Evans cannot play good against that guy. So, and it ain't gonna be just because of that. I think my man Daniels is gonna run for like 60 plus in this game and put him to work. Give me all the love to the Redskins.
So the injury report, Jamison Crowder is questionable with a hamstring, but he was limited in practice, so that really doesn't matter.
Rather him not play.
And then a depth tight end, Colson Yankoff. There's a guy name on their team. His name is Colson Yankoff. How many times did he get bullied in school? Sorry, bro.
Sounds like Nicholas.
And then for the Bucks, Jamil Dean, their corner is questionable with a knee. Mike Edwards, their safety, is questionable with a quad. Logan Hall, their defensive end, is questionable with a groin. Troy Hill, one of their depth corners, is out with a foot injury. Cade Otton is questionable with that knee, but he was full go in practice, so we could see the return of Cade Otton. And then Antoine Winfield Jr., their number one safety, is still questionable with that knee, but was a full go in practice. So, so they could get most of their defense back there for Tampa.
Adam Winfield, he's a top, almost 3-4 safety in the league. That would be a huge pickup if they could get him back in the lineup for the Buccaneers on that pass defense.
Give me the Redskins everywhere, man. They don't even. Dude, Mike Evans only on the field 60% of the time. That's crazy. You can't be paying those number prices for $7,900 for somebody like Mike Evans on the field 60% of the time.
I think you could just get off the chalk. You could get off his chalk and go straight to McMillan.
I agree.
Literally, you could just pivot to McMillan because McMillan is what Brad's been saying for the last 4 weeks. Go to McMillan. And what has he done? I think he scored a touchdown 4 weeks straight.
Yeah,
if not
5,
2.
I believe. Yeah. McMillan has definitely been that Chris Godwin sort of replacement almost in a way, and he's starting to have that production. I will say for Baker did have 4 touchdown passes in the last game against Washington. So I do like the over here. I just don't know if I'm willing to call the upset. I think that the Buccaneers are starting to find themselves down the stretch here. I think Baker's in his groove, man. Sometimes you see these quarterbacks and they just get on a run. I think also that the Bucks, Bowles on the other side might have something for the rookie that he hasn't seen yet. That's a veteran head coach who's definitely throwing a bunch of defensive schemes at quarterbacks. So I know that the desire and the energy is around kind of calling the upset. I just want to stay on my side. I'm gonna have to kind of pump the brakes a little bit. I just not sure if it's going to be that.
This is crazy. It's another week 1 matchup here. So literally they saw each other 18 weeks ago. And it was a 37-20 ball game. So that Tampa won by 17.
Yeah, but that game was that game was a 3-point game or like a 1-point game until the 4th quarter. Literally. And then Bucks started stomping them. It was like a bad interception or something, and then after that, Redskins just gave up. And that's how that game played out. But until then, it was very close game.
Yeah, because Daniels was not throwing touchdown passes at that point. He ran for 2, but he didn't throw a touchdown pass. What I'm saying is this was 18 weeks ago. This is another crazy that one of them they started the season together, and they're going to finish the season together. One of the two. So. And this was at the point where, like, they had Chris Godwin, and Chris Godwin lit up Washington, right? It wasn't even a Mike Evans game. It was Chris Godwin, 8 receptions for 83 yards and a touchdown. So
they ain't got him this time either. So,
and Mike Evans went 5 for 61 with 2 touchdowns.
And they got Lattimore.
All that shit that went to Mike Evans is going to go to McMillan.
Yeah.
Every bit of it.
Or Otten, or whoever the tight end is, if not Otten and
Durham.
Payne. Durham has had 2 touchdowns in the last 2 games. So if Otten is a surprise scratch at the end, don't be afraid to throw in Payne because he's definitely a touchdown maker.
And then this was at the point.
I would actually like to see Otten out so that way I could go all in on Durham. Literally, that would be the tight end I go to tomorrow.
Yeah. This was when Rachaad White was still the number 1 too. There, the running back. So it was 6 receptions for 75 yards.
Yeah, which by the way, speaking of that, Bucky Irving got all the targets last week, and more of the running than White. So it's starting to look more like
around 70% ownership is what RotoWire is reporting right now. I just saw that
for Irving.
Yeah,
I won't go there. I'll tell you that. If he's 70% tomorrow. Easy fade.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't want a split backfield, dude. That's still a split backfield. He had 43% rushes last week, and Rachaad White had 30.
I mean, what Sean
Tucker he got all the targets
on the field too.
I like James Cook a little bit more than Bucky Irving if I had to go between one of the two, just because of the production and just like Phil was saying, the split backfield. They're going to give Rachaad White some touches.
They are.
For sure tomorrow.
He almost had equal touches. He just didn't have the receptions. But we all know Rachaad White is the reception guy. So I don't know what the shit was last week, but on the season, Rachaad White still has more targets than Bucky. So I would expect that to be a little bit more closer tomorrow. And if he's going to be 70% owned, that's an easy fade.
I mean, you could totally pivot straight to Rachaad White if it's 70%.
Yeah, I mean, if he's getting 30% of the rushes and you give him a couple targets,
and you save $2,000, you save $2,000.
Gonna get the same fantasy points.
You save $2,000. So I mean, I was gonna say maybe the reason why is because they thought maybe they were gonna get he was gonna leave after the season, but they still have Rachaad White under contract next season as well. So he's still under contract for 1 more year unless they wanted to trade him. But they don't trade him, especially now that if they're running the way they are. So
they had Fournette last year, right?
No, 2 years ago. He hasn't been there in 2 years since Brady was there.
Fucking time flies. I know that Fournette was getting it though in the playoffs. So that was their scheme. That could be a reason that this game plays under, though.
I remember that's when Rachaad White broke onto the scene was when Leonard Fournette. He started cutting into Leonard Fournette, and Leonard Fournette got phased his ass out. But Rachaad White has that. He's a big back, but dude's got receiving skills. Like he's a big back, but he's a better receiver than Bucky, I guess, in a way. But Bucky's just a rookie, so that's the reason why. And he's taken off. But I'd take my chances with a veteran who's been around at $2,000 cheaper. And like you said, 30%. Like 30% is 30%. All you need is a touchdown and a couple receptions. And he's changed everything if Bucky Irving is $2,000 more.
You know what they do in playoffs and Super Bowl and shit. It's always to be the backup, man.
Always something different.
We've seen it before. What was it? It was our boy Bolden. My man had like 3 rushing touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Prior to that, he never touched the ball in the offense. He was special teams. Comes in on Super Bowl, gets 3 rushing touchdowns. Like, come on, man. Don't think that like Rachaad White can't come in and fuck a slate up or Austin Eckler either. 150 max gotta get exposure.
I mean, obviously Daniels is going to be Daniels. I think Daniels, if you're trying to go to the running quarter, I disagree with him being more expensive than Jalen Hurts, but DraftKings did that shit on purpose because they knew Jalen Hurts was coming off that concussion, so they priced him higher. But don't sleep on Baker tomorrow either, though. Even though you got Marshawn Lattimore, he's just going to go away from Mike Evans. He got Mike Evans his money.
He's going to go to McMillan, dude. I would definitely go Baker with McMillan and Give me Payne Durham if Otten's out.
Yes.
That's a stack right there. Bring it back. Bring him back with old Scary Terry.
Scary Terry is going to be Scary Terry. I rode Scary Terry to the chip. So
he only had 2 receptions for 17 yards in the last game. Do you see that picking up in this game? You think it was just the chemistry with the rookie quarterback?
I don't know, because that happens with Scary. I think he has a very dangerous floor where he could get you a fucking 0. It could also get you 20, 30 points.
In week 18 against Dallas, he was 8 for 12 for a touchdown. Is against Dallas. And then against Atlanta was the week before. He had 7 targets and only 1 reception. So he's Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury are forcing Terry McLaurin the ball. He just got to catch the damn thing.
Question is, where's it at? Tampa Bay or Washington. Can Josh Hayes shut down Scary Terry? That's the question.
No, I can tell you that.
I would say it's a better matchup though, is for Alamaz Zacchaeus.
But he's on. I bet Zacchaeus is like going to be like over-owned.
He might be when he's got the better matchup by a long shot.
And you said no Jamison Crowder tomorrow, right? Or is he?
He's questionable. He's questionable, but he's limited in practice, so he could be there.
Yeah.
But with De'Ami Brown back, it's kind of Derrick Henry just bitch slapped Micah Fitzpatrick. Like literally that Derrick Henry punched Micah Fitzpatrick in the face. Homies from Alabama. Crimson Tide on Crimson Tide violence.
Crimson Tide violence.
But I don't know. Like who is it saying that he's drawing? Like who is it saying that Zacchaeus is drawing? Zion McCollum?
No, Zacchaeus is drawing Tyke Smith.
Oh, Tyke Smith? Okay.
Out of Georgia.
No, yeah. He's drawing him. Who's been targeted the most times of anybody on the team.
He's a rookie.
Allows a lot of targets, and he's allowed a lot of touchdowns.
But look on the other side. We were talking about Jalen McMillan. He gets Santhra Stilly or whatever that dude's name, who gives a fucking touchdown every time. Like 5 touchdowns. Because they pulled that dude, Mike Davis or whoever was covering it.
I don't see St. Juice in there neither. St. Juice not starting?
No, he's not. So
that's
Davis,
good.
That's Santhra
Redskins win this game, bro. They figured it out. They got to get rid of St. Juice, Davis, and bring Lattimore in, and that's it. That's it.
The Lattimore factor does add a lot. I mean, it could swing. That is the difference between potentially one less touchdown.
I mean, somebody that could steal this and make this, like, screw this all is that damn Sterling Shepard shit. Because that dude has the ability, like, has that one off kind of touchdown just to ruin it for all of us because we're not really paying attention. But if you're running like 150 max, or even I would say maybe even 20, and you tell me if I'm wrong, Phil, but if you're running Baker stacks, you could probably put Sterling Shepard in there and at least one of them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would. I mean, if you're doing single entry, like I said,
touchdown Bateman called it.
I don't know if I go to him if I'm doing single entry. I like somebody like Curtis Samuel better, but what's going on?
Let's see. Any love for Brian Robinson, Phil? Brian Robinson Jr., the running back for Washington?
No.
You don't like him?
I looked at him. Only 30.
He did have 17 fantasy points in the last matchup against Tampa Bay and 3 receptions for 49 yards.
I don't think Eckler was in then.
He was. He did. He had the most rushing yards in that game. Eckler did.
Eckler?
He had 4.
All I know is right now they're almost like a direct chop on passes and rushing.
Actually, excuse me, I misspoke. Eckler was 2 carries for 10 yards, and he was getting all, and it was 4 receptions for 52 yards for Eckler and 3 receptions for 49 yards for B-Rob. So
yeah, it's a little too much of a split.
And Jeremy McNichols as well has been lurking around in the backfield too as well. So
yeah,
I just hope that you can just get off of both of the running backs there for Washington and give all the running to Jaden Daniels and just call it a day.
That's what I think is going to take it anyway.
I like them a lot, dude. Like, I like Washington. I think that they take this. I think that they win in Tampa. What I was hoping for is a Washington upset there in Tampa, and then you get the Vikings win. So Washington goes to Detroit. Vikings go down and play the winner of go to Philly, play Philly, or if Green Bay was a win, actually Minnesota got a home game. I wanted crazy shit to happen like in the NFC side because I didn't want Minnesota and Detroit to play again. I wanted to wait to them to go to the NFC Championship against one another because that'd have been cool. But Washington, I love the Washington train, dude. You know, I like Jaden Daniels and Scary Terry. So
give me the Bucks tomorrow, but close.
Like within that 3, like that 3 points that's there.
I think a field goal wins this game. I do. Yeah, I agree with the spread. I think a field goal at the end is probably what it's gonna take to win it.
I agree. It's gonna be a field goal, but I'm gonna go Skins.
I'm gonna take
I want the Skins to win too. It's the home team for me, so
I take Washington. I'll take Jaden Daniels for all the marbles. Just the battle of the Heisman winners here. 2 Heisman winning quarterbacks. 2 Heisman winning quarterbacks. I think so. But I mean, we ain't got no questions. But if we do have questions, we'll hang out for just a little bit. I mean, anybody else watching this Pittsburgh and Ravens game out there that's hanging in there with us? Let us know. If you're a Ravens or a Pittsburgh fan or a fan of one of these games that's playing tomorrow, we'd love to know it. Anybody win their league? Anybody been taking down big tournaments? Anybody got any crazy bets that they're placing or anything like that?
Oh, I probably will. I ain't looked at it yet, but I'm sure I'll have a crazy parlay.
I saw somebody has a $10 parlay that was like anytime touchdown McConkey and or 5 yards in each quarter from McConkey and Nico Collins and a touchdown for both of them. I think they both hit. And then it was $10. And then there was it was like 5 yards each quarter or each half from all the top receivers on each game. And so far I've seen it looks like it's hit so far, and I'm like, it's only $10 to pay out, and it was like $20K or some shit like that. I'm like, yeah, if dude pays out that shit, you're good luck, buddy.
Yeah, that's a win there. That's ROI.
This I don't know who y'all want to win, Pittsburgh or Ravens.
Ravens.
You want to win. You want the Ravens. Well, obviously, you're want them to win.
Yeah, I'm
rooting for Lamar, man. I hope he can at least string something.
Who's your
together.
MVP? Who's your MVP?
Lamar. Of that game?
No, MVP, like of the 3 that are in it, right? Basically the 3 that are running for it right now. Allen, Lamar, or Saquon. Who's the MVP of the season?
Allen. They're going to give it to Saquon. Dude's got like fucking 200 yards a game.
Like Lamar. I still like Lamar. I know he's won it twice, but that doesn't mean you can't give it to him again. I think he's done enough this year to deserve it.
I personally think it should go to it. it should go to Saquon. I think it should go to Saquon because you don't see a 2,000-yard rusher that often, right? But I believe that the MVP has become nothing but a quarterback award. So just if you're going to make it a quarterback award, just make it a fucking quarterback award. And then offensive player of the year needs to be anybody but a quarterback. So if you're going to give it, this could be like Saquon Barkley doesn't get any awards, right? Like he could literally not win the offensive player of the year or MVP and he's screwed. So I think that the rules need to change in that aspect if they're just going to give it to a quarterback. And if they're going to give it to a quarterback, I think the league's going to be like, well, Lamar, sorry, buddy, but you've won 2 already. We're going to give it to Josh Allen because he's never won one before and all the stars align because it's him. But
I can see that.
I think
Josh
that's
Allen's a beast, man.
Josh Allen is. I mean, I remember when Josh Allen when he got drafted, dude. Like, dude was out here throwing picks on the sideline like Nathan Peterman, and we thought he was gonna be shit. But it's crazy that that 2018 draft class, all of them are in the playoffs. All 4 out of the 5 that were drafted in that are in the playoffs. Darnold, Baker, Darnold, Josh Allen, Lamar, and the only one that's not is out of the league in Josh Rosen. Think about that. They're all in the playoffs. That's crazy. So, but anyways, well, we appreciate everybody. We appreciate all the love and let us know how you do. Let us know.
Take down Millie tomorrow. Somebody from the chat.
Somebody.
Or I'm gonna do it.
Hopefully one of us does it so we can retire early in life.
Fact.
Retire early. Well, we appreciate y'all and good luck to all y'all and good luck to if you have a team left in the playoffs or good luck to anything that you might be doing. And like I said, shout out to everybody in LA and all your family. So we appreciate it and we will catch you guys later on.
Peace. Take this dog out.
Peace.